2024 monthly meeting of the Dixon County School Board is now in session. For the record, I'd like to recognize that all our school board members are present, as well as Tanya Baker, Board Clerk, Scott Mullins, School Board Attorney, and Mrs. Robinson, Division Superintendent. At this time, would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Board members, we have an agenda for tonight's meeting. Are there any revisions or additions to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, there are no revisions to the agenda.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second. Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. That brings us to our public comment section of the meeting. Mr. Hackney, will you please read the guidelines for public comment, and Ms. Martin, will you be your timekeeper?
A period of time for public comment will be designated on the meeting agenda during which the public may comment on issues related to public education. The Dixon County School Board believes that the citizens of the county should be heard and that this is an acceptable format for receiving public comment. After the public comment section of the meeting is closed, the public shall not be allowed to participate in general board member discussions regarding agenda items. Public participation with the board members regarding agenda items can be disruptive, and the practice is prohibited by Robert's Rules of Order. It is the desire of the school board to treat each member of the public fairly and equally. Allowing one individual to participate while excluding others is unfair. The board may hold such public hearings as may be necessary to allow the public to more fully express their concerns, or the board may place the public comment section of any meeting at the end of the meeting to allow additional public comment. While we do not wish to restrict the free expression of opinion, we feel that certain restrictions may be necessary so that order and reasonable standards of decorum may be maintained. We ask that the following standards be adhered. Speaker will be recognized by the chair. Each speaker will be limited to 5 minutes. Speakers will refrain from the use of vulgarity or profanity and will avoid negative or embarrassing comments directed towards specific children or students. Board members should not respond to issues presented by speakers unless clarification is necessary. Matters of concern raised under public comment will be referred to the proper official for investigation and future board consideration if necessary.
All right. For public comment, we'd like to recognize Mr. Short, BPE.
Chairman Hicks, members of the board, and Superintendent Robinson. As April approaches, school systems all over the U.S. start to realize the end is almost near. And I'm talking about school. I'm not talking about the school year is almost over, and also upcoming those great SOL tests. I worked in the Virginia school systems for 32 years, in the Tennessee school system for 5 years, and Tennessee's got some great schools. Testing is another story because they are way behind Virginia when it comes time for testing. I dealt with a lot of that just about 6 or 8 years ago. You know, I tried to say, hey, that's not the way it's done in Virginia because they're quite behind. But anyway, when I was in education, one of the things I look forward to was the end of the school year. And for one reason, it was almost over, but for another reason was to see the excitement of the kids and all they enjoyed. But what I came to realize, what I loved about teaching was there's a new beginning every year. There are very few jobs in any profession that has every year is a new beginning. You get to start fresh every year. So, I look forward to that every year. Something new that I look forward to here is the new addition and the progress to the Ridgeview Elementary. And one thing that I failed to do at the last board meeting was I congratulated the Ridgeview girls, and there were a bunch of students here, and I sat down and it was kind of like, all right, there's 2 other groups that are being recognized for winning the state. And I thought, so I would like to congratulate those folks, the Beta and the academic participants, for what they did.
Thank you, Mr. Short. See, Mr. Tiller is, you going to his place, Ms. Mullins? Yes. All right.
I told you I was back.
Now, you did.
Yeah. And I'm glad to be back, as usual.
Glad to have you.
We had our monthly meeting, and we have come up with a plan that we want to keep our members informed during this
Ms.
budget
Mullins.
season.
Ms. Mullins, yes, thank you.
Oh, okay, sorry. Usually you can hear me anyway. But we're going to keep our members informed of what's going on during this budget season, and hopefully become more active as a group during the budget, and because we don't know what will happen, but we know that we need to be in there and make our wishes known. And we plan on sending out emails to our members and letting them know what we find out as we find it out and things. Hopefully that can be a help. And as Mr. Short was saying, it is that time of year, and we're looking at SOLs and everything. And not only are some of Tennessee's schools behind, but where all the money is behind too. Northern Virginia is behind us in scores and things. And I'm awful proud when I go to our meetings in Hampton, I'm getting ready to go and stuff like that, to, tell them I'm from Southwest Virginia, and yes, we are doing really well. And I want to thank each and every one of you, and have a very happy Easter.
Thank you, Ms. Mullins. Anyone else for public comment? Okay. All right, our next agenda item is the consent agenda, which includes the approval of minutes, the approval of monthly invoices, revenue and expenditure summary, discussion of school activity funds, approval of field trips, approval of new elementary school construction invoices, the approval of construction bank reconciliation document, and Deason County Public Schools health statement account. Are there any questions or discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
You hear a second?
Second.
All right. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. All right, next agenda item is information for the school board. Mrs. Robinson.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and you will see on information on the board regarding the April 30th meeting, which will take place at the Virginia Higher Ed Center. I'm going to be attending and would love to have board members also come and be a part of that. It's always a great meeting, and we will also showcase the artwork of many of our children, and so it's an exciting time. The second item is that we've received information today that our budget workshop with the Board of Supervisors is on Tuesday, April the 9th, from 10 a.m. to 10:45, and I want to thank Mr. Hicks and Mr. Hackney for agreeing to be a part of that meeting with us, and other board members. If something comes up, then I will be calling and asking you to attend in their place. So thank you.
All right. Ms. Robinson, will you please tell us about good news from our schools?
I would love to, and we have three of our directors who are going to be sharing information. First of all, Karen Martin will be talking about attendance and enrollment. Dennis Steele, our Director of Instruction, will be telling us about the Gifted Plan, and Denisha Edwards, Director of CTE and Special Education, has a special flyer and invitation to the board. So, Ms. Martin, if you'll come to the front, please.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Good evening, Board. Tonight I share with you our February attendance and enrollment data. In your packet, you'll find, as usual, the attendance percentages, the comparison over the last 4 years, the grid sheet, the entry and withdrawal for the month of February, as well as just an overall summary of the attendance and intervention teams as they meet each month, and then your monthly picture. There's a sneak peek at our billboard that was tentatively due to be up this week. The installer had COVID, I found out today. So he had to put off for a little bit, but those are due to go up on Monday the 1st, so those will be up, but I did want to give you a sneak peek of what those look like. The one with the elementary school will be up in Clintwood. The one that has the high school and middle school students will be up in the Clinchco area, and then our next billboards, which will go up in June, we'll switch that, and the elementary school students, their billboard will be up in the Clinchco area, and the one with the middle school and high school students will be up in the Clintwood area. So we're excited about that. Our enrollment for the month of February, we do show an increase of 6 students over last month. We had a total of 1,835 students enrolled in K through 12. We have 94 students in pre-K in the 3-year-old program. In the postgraduate program, and that's a total of 1,929 students. So we're pleased for those figures. Our monthly attendance percentage, Ridgeview Elementary School had the highest for the month of February at 89.12%, with Clintwood Elementary School coming in at second at 88.87%. And with Ridgeview Elementary School winning the banner for the month of February, now each school has had the banner at least one time this year. So it's a big competition between the schools on who gets the banner. I think Clintwood has said that they intend to take the banner next month. I think in the last meeting they have thrown down that they're going to win the banner back. As in your packet, you'll also see the chronic absenteeism. I've given you numbers also to compare those to last month. As you can see, if school was to end at the end of the month, those numbers don't fare very well. At the 180 mark, we're looking okay. The program that the VDA is allowing us to do with the after school is looking promising. We're having some students who are taking advantage of that. We're also having some kids at the high school taking advantage of that. So we're hoping that that's going to be very promising. And we're excited to have kids take advantage of that opportunity to be able to earn back some days towards our chronic absenteeism rates. Are there any questions from the board?
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Martin.
Mr. Deal? Mr. Deal?
Good evening. How's everyone doing today? Good?
Good.
Hopefully you had a good day, and I look forward to maybe a few days of rest for the Easter break. At least I hope so. Just in case you may or may not know, every division in the state of Virginia is required to develop a gifted plan. I actually shared the plan with you guys back in early February, but due to COVID, I was not able to attend last month's meeting and share that with you. These updates that we have had for our plan have been in place since that time. So just to share with you just a little bit of information, when a school division develops a plan, that plan is typically in place for 5 years. At the end of that time, the state of Virginia, they choose a period when they're going to do a technical review on your plan. Actually, myself, Dr. Compton, and Dr. Muncie were all part of a technical review. We do not participate on the same team, but we were able to review other divisions' plans. And to me, I thought it was a good thing because I was able to get some good ideas about how to update ours. So based on that, just to share with you what their findings were through the technical review, Dickson County actually did pretty good. We met all the requirements except for in two minor areas. One of them was that I needed to provide a little more information about how we determined eligibility, how we did our testing, and since that time, you guys do have the updated information. Also, the last part is what kind of services were we providing? Before COVID, Clay Elementary and some of the other schools were doing a really good job after school providing these things. We've been a little bit slow coming back to that. As I shared with you before, we have just now started doing some testing in the elementary. We've got some plans for some, like a barter trip, and we're looking at some STEM activities for those kids. So all those things are coming. It's just trying to get all of it in place is difficult. And I didn't put that in the notes there for me, but I do remember we had a couple of misspelled words that we had to correct. But I don't know why spell check didn't catch that, but it just didn't. But actually, this plan, I put it out there for you all. We'll put it out on the webpage looking for responses from the community. We'll actually vote on it next month. So just to give you a heads up of what was taking place. Okay. Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Deal.
Good evening.
Good evening.
On behalf of the Career Technical Education students and teachers at Ridgeview High School, I would like to share an invitation to you, each of you, to join us for a CTE showcase. Our students have been very busy putting together a showcase for you all and is for the community and the public. And they've been sending out flyers, invitations, making calls, emails, all kinds of great things happening. But the information about the showcase is Where Passion Meets Profession in the heart of Virginia, Ridgeview High School on April the 17th, 2024. And the flyer from the students, and I want to read because it's their showcase and it's their flyer, so I don't want to put my words in on it. Please join us for a Career and Technical Education student showcase of our students' work and creativity. We're excited to showcase the accomplishments of our students that they have made through simulated workplace and project-based learning. The beginning ceremony here in the auditorium will begin at 4:30, and the CTE Student Showcase will occur in the cafeteria from 5 to 6. Visits to the classrooms are available upon request. So what we're working on at this point is putting together a showcase of skills and of activities, of projects that have been completed through the year. We're inviting all of the community, all of the business, our community college, everybody that will come, parents, students. We want everybody to come, and we're going to showcase all the great things that's going on with career technical education. So I'm very excited. We've been working, coming up with ideas. They're so creative. You're going to be amazed and so impressed by what our students are doing, but most importantly, I want our students to get recognition for what they're doing. So if you can join us, I'd love to have you on that evening. They're going to send you a flyer in your email, so you're going to get an email from our students, and we're asking the news to show up, we're asking the newspaper, we want this to be a big event. So we're real excited. If you can join us, please join us. I do have the flyer, a paper copy of the flyer. I'll give it to Mrs. Robinson. She can pass it out. And if you can join us, please join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is that all the good news?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, which brings our next agenda item is the update on Ridgeview Elementary. Mr. Burge.
Good evening. Hope everyone's doing well, enjoying the nice day today. We like these kind of days doing construction. Yesterday was not so fun. Brian, he's going to hook us up with some...
It can't all be gravy, Mr. Burge. But have some lunch every now and then.
Mr. Burge, while we're waiting, we had a question asked about the canopy at the playground. Would you like to share with the board just briefly about that situation? And it's no longer there, so, but if you could, please.
So the contractor had not given us the O&M manuals for how to take care of those canopies. They will sustain the wind up to 105 miles an hour, but there's a limit on the snow load. We did not know about it, so it collapsed under the snow that we had. Quisenberry has agreed, since they didn't hold up their end of the deal, that they will be replacing those canopies. The framework is what collapsed on that held up the canopy part. The poles are fine, so they will be replacing that. They've ordered the material, just waiting for it to come in. Any questions about that? Okay. So, of course, things are moving pretty well, I think, on the expansion. We continue the metal framing, and studs are all pretty much done inside. The roof caps are on and framed up around the windows. The MEP guys are doing, the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing guys are doing well. The walls are all roughed in. They started roughing in the power and stuff in the ceilings. The plumbers have got all their stuff roughed in the walls. And the duct guy, he has got his hangers up, kind of waiting on the roof to be installed. The roof curves for the air handling units have been set on the roof, which allows the roofer to do his work. The roofer is here this week. He may actually finish this Friday. If not, he'll finish early next week. The brick masons are laying brick on the west and south side. They probably got another day or two there, so probably by next Friday, all the brick will be laid on the building as well. The building will be brick, the roof will be on, the window guys will be working on the windows, but as soon as the roof's on, we've got all the window openings covered up, drywall can start because all the framing's done and the roofing's done. So that's moving real well. We had to raise up a fire hydrant. That work's ongoing now as well. Next, as far as the budget, everything is still on budget. Projects on schedule. Furniture has been ordered. The final POs were sent out today. The low voltage is the submittals are in the hands of ZMM to review. The procurement of phones and the classroom technology is done, as well as, so that's all ready to go. Next. So here's a picture of the brick on the south and the west side. You can see this was taken yesterday, so I haven't been out there this afternoon, but I expect they're getting on up close to the top. Next, this is a view looking from the looking southeast. The stairs are in, been poured. You can see the bricks, they've got it up to scaffold height on the two sides. They will be moving around there once they top out the other two sides. Next. Here's a picture of inside. Plumbing you can see left in there. This is on the first floor. They did a really good job. Looks great. The work is neat. You can see the red conduit in the ceiling. That's for the fire alarm. So all those things are in place, just kind of waiting on them to get dried in, and we can start hanging drywall. Next. Here's another picture of a classroom. As you can see, the bathroom's roughed in, the teaching wall is roughed in over there. The straps are there for the ductwork. So it's, things are ready for drywall as soon as we get dry. Next. Here's a look in the corridor, same kind of thing. The bump outs have been framed, ready for drywall once it's all dried in. Next. There's a picture up on the roof. As you can see, the materials were up there. They got the materials up this week. Yesterday they got rained out, so this was taken yesterday. Today they were installing roofing. Next. There's another picture of the roof and the materials on the roof with the cap in place. Next. I think that's all. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Burge, you think in the next month or so we could take a little tour through there? Mr. Banner's never had the opportunity to do a tour.
We can make sure we can arrange that. Let us get the roof on and get it cleaned up and nice and dry, and we'll get y'all in there.
Opportunities for a construction tour are coming to Slim.
Yeah, so we'll plan for that probably before the board meeting next month, Heidi?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that works for me. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burge. All right, the next agenda item is the approval of the 24-25 DCPS budget. Ms. Taylor.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. First, I will need to start with a small apology. It appears that the printed version of your proposed budget is not the same version that is up on the screen. It looks like when I printed it, I printed the prior budget workshop version, so I will need you to, if at all possible, to look back there. But the proposed annual budget document is the correct version.
It's just not in this one.
It's just not in your PowerPoint printout. And we do have those, and I'm terribly sorry that that mistake was made, but we can email those to you or reprint those for you as well. Okay, we're going to start with this year's 24-25 proposed annual budget. There have been some changes, so we will be going through the complete version of the budget with you this evening. Total proposed budget is $35,678,982. Now, this budget is based on the Virginia Department of Education calculation tools that were released on Monday afternoon, March 25th. Those calculation tools contain a 3% compensation increase for 193.05 state-funded SOQ positions for DCPS. The state funding amount remained the same overall from our prior budget drafts, and we had talked about earlier that there may be some categorical changes within the revenue, that those funds may move around into different categories. We did see that with these calc tools. The areas that you will see those changes in revenue were in sales tax, basic aid, at-risk funding, and the grocery tax hold harmless amounts. But again, the state funding amount did stay the same from our prior versions. The required local match, based on the new calculation tools, decreased by $125,658. Next slide, please. Now, the total full-time employee positions budgeted for 24-25 is 324. That is 130.95 over the state-funded SOQ positions at 193.05. We expect those 324 positions to be filled by 310 employees, and the explanation for that is that 14 of those are teacher drivers, so it's one employee that completes 2 full-time positions. As DCPS evaluated the transition and consolidation of all schools, all positions were carefully considered. For efficiency, 12 vacant full-time positions that could not be filled at this time with eligible employees were eliminated from the 24-25 budget. These positions will be reconsidered in the future based on student needs and the availability of employees. Next slide, please. We'll move over to your fiscal year 24-25 proposed annual budget document. Next slide. On page 1 is the estimated revenue budget for fiscal year 24-25. Total state revenue, as I said, stayed the same, $22,093,893. That includes a state share of $21,943,893 with additional state grant of $150,000. The state revenue is based on the Virginia Department of Education's projected ADM, or enrollment, for Dickinson County Public Schools for next year, and that is 1,750.55. The required local effort from the calculation tools gives us $3,580,246, and required local effort, as you know, is the minimum to meet the SOQ requirements. Required local match with incentive programs is $5,020,729. Next slide, please. Now, we will go through these. We'll start with the state funding, and we'll go through those line by line, just to make it clear of any changes that we did make.
And board members, you do have a copy of this with you. Thank you, Ms. Taylor.
Now, state funding SOQ programs, sales tax, $2,693,504. Basic aid, $9,076,128. Remedial summer school, $42,627. Gifted, $87,869. Prevention and intervention, 0. Special education, $1,221,931. Textbooks, $219,865. Vocational, $623,322. Social Security, $556,047. VRS retirement, excuse me, $1,195,845. Group Life, $34,324. English as a second language, $2,686. That's the subtotal for the SOQ accounts, $15,754,148. Moving on to incentive programs, compensation supplement, $379,109. The 1% one-time bonus payment was not budgeted as it was removed. At risk, $2,100,050. Virginia Preschool Initiative, $383,077. Grocery and hygiene tax hold harmless, $403,840. Technology grant, VSPA, $154,000. School security equipment grant, $150,000. That gives us a subtotal of incentive accounts for fiscal year 24-25 of $3,570,076. Categorical programs include school lunch and special education homebound. School lunch is budgeted at $10,676. Special education homebound is $12,927. Subtotal for categorical programs is $23,603. In the lottery-funded programs category, ISAEP is $8,203. Foster care, $9,001. Career and technical education, $106,423. Early reading intervention, $103,502. Special education regional tuition, $319,640. At risk, $767,597. K through 3 primary class size reduction, $781,692. School breakfast, $33,281. Infrastructure and operations per pupil, $559,573. Mentor teacher program, $2,246. SOL algebra readiness, $51,103. Project graduation, $3,805. With a subtotal of lottery funds, $2,746,066, bringing us to that total state fund amount of $22,093,893. Next slide, please. We're going to turn the page to look at our federal funding. Total federal funding is budgeted at $5,256,847. Of that, food services accounts for $1,192,000. ESSER 3 and/or ARPA funding is $2,362,567. And then our title programs, Perkins, and other federal payments is $1,702,280. The next slide, please. Okay. We'll go through the federal funding amounts line by line. Title I program, $823,145. Title II Part A, $110,242. Title III, $1,165. Title IV-A, $60,413. Title IV Part B Rural, $59,569. Title VI Special Education, $558,951. Perkins, $57,198. Preschool handicapped, $31,597. School breakfast program, $355,000. National school lunch program combined, $770,000. USDA child and adult care food program, $35,000. Summer feeding program, $12,000. Fresh fruit and vegetable program, $20,000. ESSER 3, $1,864,294. ESSER 3 mentor teacher, $635. ESSER 3 summer school, $60,787. ESSER 3 before and after school, $183,653. And the ARPA HVAC grant, $253,198, which brings us back again to our total of $5,256,847. Next slide, please. We're going to talk about our local appropriation request, our other grants and revenue, and our carryovers. These are all on the same page, page 2 or 4 on your revenue budget. The local appropriation request, it will be $5,520,729. That is the required local match of $5,020,729. With the request for funds of $500,000 in addition to that for salary and wage increases, and that was the amount that was given by the Board of Supervisors to build into last year's salaries and wages, so that is why we are asking for that again. In other grants and revenue, we have that budgeted at $428,900. Those are made up of school food service, $45,000, payments from Medicaid, $150,000, Medicaid administrative reimbursement, $20,000, E-rate, $100,000, adult ed miscellaneous account, $500, RLA grant, $23,400, dual enrollment tuition, $15,000, and then other, and $75,000. That's a total of other funds in $428,900. You will note that from our prior budget drafts, this is a decrease in other revenue. The other revenue was adjusted in the amount of $25,000, a decrease based on the board's request to budget fuel and driver for athletic and academic team events in the next fiscal year without requiring reimbursement from school activity funds. Moving down to our expected carryover funds, I'll just remind you that carryover estimates are fluid and could change through the rest of the year depending on the timing and nature of some transactions. At this point in time, we are estimating $2,378,613 in carryover requests. That is $18,000 in GED testing, $50,000 in textbook carryover, $29,000 is Dolly Parton's Imagination Library Program carryover. $1,111,629 for the All In Initiative and Virginia Literacy Act funding, and $1,169,984 in the state construction allocation funding that was granted in fiscal year '23. And next slide, please. And next. Next slide, please. Okay. That brings our total revenues to $35,678,982. We will now move on to our expenditure budget, which begins on page 3 of your document. In general, the salaries and wages expenses are $16,859,399. Payroll-related expenses are $10,639,041. That gives us a total personnel-related expense of $27,498,440. The ratio of personnel-related to total expenses is 77.1%, which leaves us for our non-payroll-related expenses $8,180,543, which is 22.9% of the total budget. Next slide, please. Okay, we'll start with our salaries and wages. School board members, $30,501. Instructional salaries, $10,032,076. Librarians, $195,645. Principals, $304,474. Assistant principals, $456,751. Professional salaries and wages, technology, $231,450. School nurses, $180,745. School psychologists, $115,156. Admin coordinators and health services, $916,135. Clerical salaries, $455,251. Teacher aide salaries, $537,624. Mechanics, $160,000. Bus drivers, $846,241. Maintenance personnel, $284,303. Custodians, $653,046. Cooks, $515,000. Substitute instructional wages, $600,000. Substitute nurse wages, $30,000. Substitute bus driver wages, $50,000. Substitute janitor wages, $75,000. Substitute cook wages, $55,000. And salary supplements for coaching, $135,000, bringing our total subtotal for salaries and wages, $16,859,399. Next slide, please. We'll move on to the payroll-related expenditures. These are all of the expenditures that are functions of the payroll salaries and wages, such as taxes, or benefits such as VRS and health insurance. FICA benefits, $1,289,744. VRS plans 1 and 2, $1,906,068. VRS benefits hybrid, $953,034. Health insurance, $6 million. Group life, $170,000. Hybrid disability insurance, $13,000. Unemployment, $5,000. Workers' compensation, $70,000. Retiree health care credit, $192,195. Sick leave, $25,000. Vacation leave, $15,000. Subtotal for payroll-related expenditures, $10,639,041. Next slide, please.
Ms. Taylor, the board also voted on the drivers, bus driver, teacher.
Yes.
And that was added to this, correct?
That is correct. We had already received the information that it was going to be going into effect from VRS, so those were already added in our previous drafts, but it is also included here as well, where teachers who drive buses will receive VRS on those wages as well. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the last page in the expenditure budget. It's the non-payroll related expenditures. Purchase services, $1,300,000. Purchase services for virtual school programs, $175,000. Private carriers, $1,500. Student tuition assistance, $15,000. Internet connectivity, $95,000. Utilities, $850,000. Communications, $25,000. Insurance, $130,000. Leases and rentals, $3,500. Travel, $16,500. Project graduation, $3,950. Materials and supplies, $900,000. Food products, $725,000. Vehicle and equipment for fuel, $350,000. Vehicle and equipment supplies, $200,000. Textbooks, $269,865. Instructional supplies, $200,000. Technology software, $100,000. Non-capitalized technology hardware, $45,000. Student tuition governor school, $4,000. CTE equipment, Perkins, $53,949. Capital outlay replacement, $350,000. Capital outlay additions, $2,067,279. Technology hardware, $200,000. And technology infrastructure, $100,000. That's a subtotal for our non-payroll related expenditures of $8,180,543, bringing our total expenditures to $35,678,982. Next slide, please. So we'll just go over a recap of all that we've just gone over. Total estimated state revenue, again, $22,093,893. Total estimated federal revenues, $5,256,847. Our local appropriation request, $5,520,729. Estimated other funds, $428,900. Estimated carryover funds, $2,378,613. Total estimated revenue for fiscal 24 and 25, $35,678,982. Next slide. And just to summarize our expenses, our total estimated expenditures also $35,678,982. And then at the top you'll see salaries and wages, $16,859,399. Total payroll-related expenditures, $10,639,041, and non-payroll expenditures, $8,180,543. And next slide. Again, my sincere apologies for bringing the wrong printed materials for you, but we will get those to you as soon as possible. And I would be glad to take any questions that you may have.
Members, any questions for Mr. Taylor?
Ms. Taylor, do you anticipate any significant change to come in these numbers?
Hopefully not, no.
I think it's pretty much done as far as the state's concerned.
Well, right now, we're aware that the budget is being passed back to the General Assembly, and so we are hopeful that it will stay the same.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Hicks, at our last March, since this is our last March meeting, we'd like to request a motion to approve the budget tonight as presented. As Ms. Taylor has said, this is the revised budget with the best information available. It is different than what we presented to the board the last 2 weeks, but we would like to have a motion and recommend that. This budget will be presented to the Board of Supervisors as soon as possible. Their due date is on April the 1st. So if there are any questions for Ms. Taylor or any other questions for me.
Any questions, guys?
No.
Well, thank you, Mr. Taylor, for all your work on this more than once. This is the third time, right?
March is full of Groundhog Days.
Yes, maybe we have to do it again. All right, gentlemen, do we have a motion to approve the 24-25 DCPS budget as presented?
I make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you.
All right, next agenda item is the approval of proposed VSBA policies. Ms. Martin?
Good evening once again, board members. Earlier last week, Ms. Robinson forwarded an email from me with 16 policy updates for your consideration. Those policies that we sent you were mainly, they involved minor changes such as legal references, cross-references. A couple of them were just typographical errors that VSBA had found in their own original policies. Hopefully you had an opportunity to read over those, and at this time I ask if you had any questions or comments in regards to those policies that we did send you.
Well, they all appeared pretty minor to me.
Okay. And hearing no questions, I would request a motion for approval of those policies.
Anybody got a question for Ms. Martin? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the VSB policies as presented? So moved. Do I hear a second? Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Ms. Martin.
Thank you very much.
Next agenda item is the update on the transition of Clintwood Elementary School to the Ridgeview campus for the 24-25 school year. Mrs. Robinson.
Thank you. As you see by the pictures, we're getting closer and closer to with that construction. And so we have this item on the agenda every month just to help us keep focus on that by the end of mid-July to end of July, we hope to be ready to be in the building and be ready to start school in early August. The task, tonight's focus will be the placement of our staff, input again from Ridgeview Middle School, Ridgeview Elementary, and Clintwood Elementary administration has took place on March the 21st. We have again, as directors and as staff members looked at the staff, the principals had some requests and some suggestions and recommendations, which we included in what you have received as staff placement. And so we will continue with this next month, and we will schedule, I think that's a great idea, to schedule a tour, and as we've done in the past, we'll look at 4:30 about that time to go and to see the new construction. Thank you, Mr. Hicks.
Okay. All right, this time we will have board comments. Mr. Hackney, you want to go first?
Sure. I'll just say that looking forward to the budget workshop with Board of Supervisors. I think that can be productive. Hopefully we'll get some good dialogue in, and also I think that hopeful as far as what comes back from the state is, I mean, it looked good tonight, so I think we're on pace for not too much difficulty this budget session. Other than that, I think just hopefully everyone has a great Good Friday and Happy Easter.
Thank you.
I certainly can see that a lot of work has been done, and I do appreciate that. I hope it all works out the way it's planned. I think, if I saw it right, you're anticipating 1,900 students in the new building. Is that what they're all three buildings here?
I'm sorry.
The enrollment for, that was kind of discussed in the...
For Coburn, for Ridgeview.
Yes, for Ridgeview
yes, sir.
Elementary and Middle and High School.
Well, if we go by the enrollment today that Ms. Martin shared with us, it's over 1,900 students. And that does not include staff, custodians, everyone else. So we possibly could have close to 2,000, 2,500, 2,600 people here next year.
Well, that's certainly something to take note of, and that means this summer there's going to be an awful lot of work done, moving and packing and what have you, but I just hope the rest of the year goes well, and with all the trips and activities and what have you, there's lots to celebrate, and just hope that everybody out there stays safe and has fun and get those SOL tests done in a good way. Hope everybody passes, too.
Well, I'll just add that, I appreciate our directors shared with us tonight, Ms. Martin and Mr. Deal, and Ms. Edwards, being an old CTE teacher here. I'm looking forward to that showcase, and I'm going to try to do everything I can in my power to be here and support that endeavor and support those kids, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they've got to show us. That's something we need to be proud of and something we need to let more people see, but appreciate all the work of all the directors and everybody that puts in all the hard work that you could see, and Ms. Taylor for doing the budget for the third time for us. Appreciate her, but just looking for a good Easter break, and hope everybody has a good weekend, good safe weekend, and God bless.
Go ahead, Mr. Mullins.
Well, I think the CTE showcase is a great idea. I really like that. It's a really good thing. And I'm getting really excited about the transition of Clintwood Elementary up here. And I think that'll just put the icing on the cake for something that's been looked forward to for a long, long time. I'd just like to wish everyone a happy Easter.
All right. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but is population in Dixie County like 14,000? Around that? I'm just thinking, talking about those numbers, we're talking over 10% of the population of the county being right here. So that's something else to consider. Mr. Short, you're going to do a great job because your predecessors, you'd always come in and say something, and somehow or another at the end, I would relate it back to whatever she started with. And I just thought of your beginnings and your end, and thinking about this CTE showcase, our SOL scores, and all the achievements. So the ending of the school is a great thing as you see the achievements that these kids are going to achieve, and the achievement of our teachers and staff as well. So that's definitely looking forward to. And then when you throw in this construction project and getting all of our students in one place in a great facility, that's coming to an end as I got thinking about doing the tour, and there's not many opportunities to do that yet. So, coming to an end, and then that's going to start a new beginning. And so just so grateful for all the blessings that we have and all the things that our students and our staff has accomplished. All right, so this time we'll go into closed session. In closed session, pursuant to Section 2.23711, Paragraph A of the Code of Virginia, there will be a closed session for the purpose of, 1, employment issues relating to discussion or consideration of specific individuals for employment as Director of Business and Finance, substitutes, coaches, FMLA, and resignation pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A. And 2, to consult with legal counsel regarding the investment of public funds associated with school construction and consultation regarding actual or probable litigation, along with consultation regarding specific matters requiring legal advice pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.271A, 6, 7, and 8 of the Code of Virginia. Do I hear a motion to go into closed session?
So move.
Second. All right. Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, is there a motion to come out of closed session?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We are now out of closed session. Mr. Robinson, will you please read the certification?
Yes, sir. Excuse me. Whereas the Dickinson County School Board has convened a closed meeting on this day pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law, now therefore be it resolved that the Dickinson County School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, only the public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered. Would you please certify?
I certify.
I certify. I certify.
I certify.
I certify.
Okay. Are there any motions to come from closed session?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the early graduation of student 0444 and student 1151.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Are there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Do I have any other motions from closed session?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board approve employment recommendations as presented in closed session.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. All right, ayes have it, motion carries. Do you have any other business to discuss? All right, hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?